Hello, and welcome to reCapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at reCapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Hello, Ashley.
Hello.
You know what? I probably should have taken the time to figure out how to say hello in Korean, but I didn't do that.
Tough. It's tough, but the intention of the effort is there.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you for that. Ashley, I am so excited. We are recapping, one of the hits of 2025, and I'm talking about KPop Demon Hunters. I have a special guest, Ashley, before we get into our usual spiel, and it's none other than my baby girl. Hi. You want to say hi to our audience?
I already said hi.
Just say hello.
Hello.
The princess of the pod has rejoined us.
So this film has been a phenomenon in our household in that I cannot tell you how many times I've watched this movie because we love it so much. Amara, what are your thoughts on KPop Demon Hunters?
I like the girls. My favorite one is named Rumi. And then I think I like all their songs. And I think it's the best movie on Netflix.
Oh, really? You know how many times you've seen it?
10,000 times.
10,000. Okay.
So no exaggerations. No exaggerations.
You mentioned your favorite out of Huntrix is Rumi. Why Rumi?
Because I like her braids. Well, her purple braid, and I like her purple hair. I just like Rumi a lot.
Okay. What's your favorite song from the movie? Golden. Well, guess what? You're not alone. It is one of the top songs on the Billboard charts.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, Billboard is a musical.
Oh.
No, that's a good question. No, but that would be a question I would ask. What Billboard are you talking about? Where is it? Is it posted in the house?
Exactly. Anything else that you like to talk about with KPop Demon Hunters?
No, not right now, at least. I'm still thinking.
Okay. You want to ask Ashley what her thoughts are?
What are your thoughts, Ashley?
Well, my thoughts are, Amara, usually I don't do demons and ghosts, but for the sake of this animated feature, it was a ride. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music. I don't know all the songs like you guys know it because I've seen it once so far, not a bunch of times, but I will say the music was very catchy. And I agree. I really did like Rumi. I thought she was the heart of the movie.
Yes.
And, it was a time was had.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Amara.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye, Amara.
Bye.
Alrighty. KPop Demon Hunters is a movie that's an hour and 35 minutes, rated PG. It is a musical / action film. It was released June 20th of 2025. Here's a quick summary. When they aren't selling out stadiums, K-pop superstars Rumi, Mira, and Zoe use their secret identities as badass demon hunters to protect their fans from an ever-present supernatural threat. Together, they must face their biggest enemy yet, an irresistible rival boy band of demons in disguise. Here's the cast. The Voice for Rumi is Arden Cho. Mira is Mei Hong. Zoe is Ji Young Yo. Jinu is An Hoseop. We also have Bobby as Kim Jong. Healer Han as Daniel D. Kim. And Yima is played by Lee Deong Hong. Rotten Tomatoes gave this film 95% from the critics, 90% from the audience, and Google users 87%. Ashley, what's your grade for K-pop DH?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in that strong B plus range. Like I said, it was enjoyable. The music was really, really good and really served the not just the soundtrack, but like the plot points,
The
obviously,
narrative.
and
Yes.
driving everything forward. And then just the storyline of it, I thought was really, really good in terms of kind of the dilemmas that the characters find themselves in. Wasn't expecting love and romance in the demon world, but here we are. And, I just thought like visually it was fun and I could see why kids and people like really took to it and engaged with it because thought they did a really good job with the animation as well, which we probably don't talk about quite enough sometimes how much effort goes into animation, but it
It
was
takes
visually
years.
stunning. Yeah.
It's visually stunning. I agree. I gave this film A plus 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 plus. Like I freaking love this film. I remember seeing previews of it literally maybe a week before, and I'm like, this is such a joke. Like, what do you mean K-pop Demon Hunters? Like everything is K-pop these days, you know? And boy, was I proven wrong. I'm like, why does this work? Like I love when things that aren't supposed to make any sense blow me away. Prime example, Hamilton. What do you mean a cast of brown and black people being the founding fathers rapping? Like shouldn't work, but it's everything.
Yeah.
Sinners is not supposed to work. What do you mean prohibition, Mississippi, Jim Crow vampires, like Irish vampires. What?
Slade. Literally.
Literally. K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay, I understand K-pop is having a time courtesy of BTS and Blackpink. But what do you mean, Demon Hunters? And man, it was such a ride. It's so good to me that I'm like, I think this could win an Oscar.
Hmm.
Real talk. Either and or best animated film and best song. Now, which song? I don't know which song they'll put up because there are so many bangers on this soundtrack. But we will see. Time will tell. This is a strong contender. And so much so that I feel like Sony is in their early 90s Disney era right now, coming with the hits. Okay.
Yeah, you may be right on that Oscar though, as popular as it is, and it is enjoyable music.
They had the Mitchells versus the Machine, which was a hit. And we cannot forget Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I still need to watch the
One
sequel.
and two.
I still need to watch the sequel.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And now they have this. Yes, I'm excited for the future. What do I love about this film? It's visually stunning, it's genuinely funny, and it's an overall good time. So let's go ahead and get into our spoiler alert. Ashley, are you familiar with K-pop?
Loosely. I mean, I listen to and am aware of some of the K-pop music that's out there. The boy band era is in my rear view at this point. Will I still turn on some NSYNC sometimes? Absolutely. But the era has passed me of like deep investment, fan of a lead singer or having a
I'm
favorite
telling
in the
you,
group.
the fandom is real when it comes to these artists. So
Yeah,
yes.
I understand. Yeah, it's beyond me. But yes, I'm familiar and obviously you definitely remember the strong reign of BTS, even at award shows there for a while.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because they took a break because in Korea, you have to go into service when you reach a certain age, and like two of their band members had to like you know, do their service to their country. So for me, BTS and Blackpink were my main reference. I've said this before in the mic. They emulate a time that we lived in. I'm talking about the TRL, when pop was huge, the bands were huge, boy bands, girl bands were huge, and
Full choreo.
full choreo, especially with the boy bands in particular. You had your faves. There was the pretty boy, the lead singer, the broody, the quiet one. Like that was a thing, but I feel like it's more literal with K-pop based off my observation. The other thing that I realized is I'm like, why are there so many people in a group?
Yeah. I feel like they are a little bit of a like basketball team or something. Like they
Or
be deep.
something.
They got a roster.
Literally, I'm like, how do you know who's your fave when you have that many in a group? But that's above me now. But I do feel like a lot of what they emulate is things that we've done in America, like especially with the hip hop culture, like that's pretty prevalent now in their music. And I think it's interesting. For me, it's like, oh, the reach of hip hop and rap culture, you know what I mean, in
Hmm.
other cultures is quite fascinating to see. So yeah. And the other thing that I think that is distinctly K-pop also is they are trained. You know what I mean? Like we talk about it a little bit, how we feel like a lot of our artists as of late don't have that, media training, or that, that grind of practice before they're like the development aspect of it all, you know what I mean, before they're released to the masses. That that is very, I mean, the girls are picked. It's giving making the band, you know what I mean? And I like I said, it's a fascinating moment in music, and the fact that they're able to, permeate the American markets is a big deal when it comes to music, because I do feel like America is a leader in that space when it comes to our culture, like music and things. So because there's some people who can be popular in their home country, but
Doesn't
my
translate.
right, but usually if you make it here, you can make it anywhere.
America.
All right. So the film starts off with world building. We are introduced to this world where demons are hunting and torturing humans under their leader, Kima. The first hunters unite the souls of the people, and they bring them together, and they create the Han Moon to protect the people and fight back against the demons. So every generation has a trio of demon hunters who secure the Han Moon, and the ultimate goal is the golden one, where the demon world would be shut out forever. I thought it was interesting when preparing for this particular recap. Maggie Kang is one of the directors and writers of this project. She talked about how she was really interested in making a movie that spoke to Korea, its heritage, demonology. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, she said that shaman were mostly women in Korea. And so that was kind of her like inspiration of coming up with, this trio. And she also mentioned that she wanted to make strong, beautiful women that weren't overly sexy, that were funny, silly, messy, and aspirational and beautiful. And I was like, oh, I think you succeeded, sis. Uh, Income, the trio that we know as Huntrix. We have Mira, Zoe, and Rumi. Ashley, what were your first impressions of this movie with the trio?
I mean, I love a ladies empowerment moment, and I like that it was, you know, based around their friendship and their, foundation of a relationship. And then to her, the point about, making them, not just too sexy or all these things. When they came off stage and they just like ate a whole bunch of food, like carb loaded. I thought that was so funny and like so relatable that yet they're not these like unreachable, untouchable pop stars. They're very relatable. They're
Mm.
very down to earth. And I thought that was fun.
I thought they were badass off the rip, though, with the intro song, How It's Done. I think my mouth was on the floor when Rumi started rapping, jumping out of a plane. I was like, what is happening? This song should not be this good.
I was talking to Shamika yesterday, and she's probably watched this movie as much as you have, and was just started busting out singing the songs. I'm like,
Period.
I haven't seen the film yet, but clearly the music is hella catchy.
How it's done, done, done. Oh my gosh. But it's also significant in that particular song selection that they apparently have the sight to see the demons. They have patterns on their skin and they're able to get their weapons out of the ether. I don't know. And kick some butt. We also see the Han Moon that they're actively working on protecting the people. And they had some shimmer of gold, which is amazing considering this is their ultimate goal, the golden Han Moon. Also, I love that their plans were couch because that sounds like how I feel when I'm done with work. Like, what are your plans?
Exactly.
Couch. Thank you very much.
I don't want to go on no vacation. Let me just be vegetate and be at peace.
Honestly, I mentioned this in our last episode. I had a whole entire birthday. What did I do? I binged a show with my family because that's all I wanted
peaceful.
to do.
Sounds peaceful.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Huntrix apparently have been doing their job very well because the demon world is suffering. Kima is not as big as he used to be, and they got nothing. Huntrix is doing, they're getting it done. In comes Genu. First of all, this introduction was fire. He came in with his, I don't know the Korean name for the instrument. I think I did write it down somewhere. I think it's called, a bipa, which is like a guitar or string instrument. And he sang this song to taunt Gima, saying, will your fire go out? You know, he's like, yo, you need another plan, and I got you. When he busted out saying, you need a boy band, I cackled, Ashley. Cackled, because I think that's what I love about this movie so much is like, it's so funny and it doesn't take itself that seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta fight pop fire with pop fire is the moral of this story. Then you also think about, I mean, the deeper level and the deeper layer is how music can be used for good and evil.
Girl.
Historically, biblically,
Yes.
influential. It's very real.
Very real.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, you brought this up in your initial thoughts on the film. I think this movie did a really great job with the music on how it literally is a way to move the plot forward. Like the lyrics were they were great, but they were intentional and significant.
It's like a musical. I mean, hello,
yes.
Wicked, yep. Hello, yeah.
Hello. Oh, speaking of Wicked, this movie has surpassed Wicked when it comes to topping the charts.
I don't know about all that, but okay.
No. For a soundtrack, Wicked reached number 4 last year. This is a Billboard article that says K-pop Demon Hunters become highest charting soundtrack of 2025. And for reference, Wicked was number 4 in January after being number 2 in December 2024. And this soundtrack is the highest ranking soundtrack since Encanto at number one back in 2022.
Hmm.
Because you remember, we don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, I definitely do. I don't know. I don't know about all that. Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande. I don't know, but I get it. The music is very catchy.
Well, I'm just saying the popularity of it.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
saying,
I'm
yeah.
I'm not knocking what you're saying at all. It's more so
Oh,
in my personal taste. It's a stretch, but I got it.
yeah.
The masses have spoken.
Yeah. I have to say, I have never seen a fandom be created so quickly as I have around this particular movie. Because, like, on social media, I've liked a couple of things, but my For You page is crazy with K-pop Demon Hunters. I was like, people are making their own videos, a lot of AI generation of like how they would look if they were humans. Like it is a thing. And I think it's funny because I this movie does take a bit of a kick at the fandom that these K-pop groups have. Like they be going in. I know we talk about the Beehive, but the fans over there are pretty intense, Ashley. So Rumi, I put in my notes must be a Virgo because they were just talking about having times on the couch, and she is out here releasing new singles for them to perform live performances.
No rest. No rest for y'all.
Oh my goodness. And they released that music video. And again, I was like, why are these music videos so dramatic? And again, it's giving early 2000s, like the dramatics that went into some of these music videos were so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
I still get a good kick out of when you see recreations on like social media of like R&B singers when they were in the rain, they had their boys behind them all
Yes.
singing or hovering or what have, like it cracks me up. Cause yeah, it was a
Yeah,
time. A time
it
was
was a
had.
time. But one of the biggest secrets of the movie is that Ruby is part demon. She was so bent on releasing the golden single because she felt like this would be the single to make the golden honeymoon and she would be relieved of her patterns. But instead of that happening, they started spreading, Ashley. I have so many questions. Okay. We find out she's part demon because of her father. Her mom has passed on and she was raised by, I believe, her co band member, Celine. I need to know about this relationship, Ashley. Like, what do
Hmm.
you mean your mom, the demon hunter slayer, got with your daddy and made you? Like, what do you mean? Like,
How does
was
that work?
this, how does that work?
Do they still have sperm? Apparently, in
First
this
of all, if
adaptation.
Edward Cullen can get Bella pregnant, anything's possible. Okay.
Sure. I mean, sure. Sure. It's crazy out here. But also this reminded me of Harry Potter. I kept calling her Mudblood. Like that was what was in my mind during this whole scenario of her being half demon, half human, and what that meant.
I actually thought a lot about Turning Red with this film. Disney's, I believe they were Korean as well. Forgive me if I don't remember that correctly, but the idea of, sisterhood and then, being boy crazed.
Yeah.
I was definitely reminded of that, as well as Frozen, Conceal, Don't Feel in particular. Shout out to Let It Go. So, Rumi, she's so busy hiding her true identity that her voice is giving up on her. And honestly, shout out to the real singer of these songs because I'm like, she's saying like rent was due.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard a K-pop singer blow the way this girl was blowing in this movie. Okay, I love me some Blackpink, but they are very, very cutesy, very mindful. Like they're not. They're not blowing the way Rumi was in this film. Zoe suggests that they go to a holistic doctor and they see him. I think he gives some insights on the trio. Rumi's hiding things, so many walls. Zoe is eagerness to please, and Mira, with the jump scare, was everything I needed because I cackled. I feel like this movie is a lot. It's doing a lot, but I do wish we had a little bit more insight when it came to the other members. How did you feel about the portrayal of Zoe and Mira?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think it did focus heavily on Rumi and didn't really give room to focus on the other two. But it's a kids' movie and there's only an hour and 39 minutes, so that's fair.
But again, the chuckles when you found out that the man's tonics were just grape juice had me just tickled. This epic meet cute, Ashley, when she clumsily falls over and you have the cool guy. Apparently, this is typical when it comes to K drama tropes. And they kind of nodded to that with the traditional Korean music for that particular role. But I think what I enjoyed when it came to the Saja boys and Huntrix is the Saja boys are demons and they are not nice. Like he bumps into her, he tells her to watch herself and then drinks her tonics in front of his face. I was like,
He also brushed his shoulder, didn't he? Like,
yes. I was like, the audacity. But shout out to the animators because the Saja boys are some cuties. Okay. I thought it was so funny because Amara is still very young, but she did understand the fascination of abs with Abby. And David and I were just trying so hard not to be like, oh my goodness, you'll get this when you're 13.
yeah, keep her innocent for a little bit longer. You don't need to know.
Did you have a favorite Saja boy, Ashley?
Nah, I mean, again, they focus more so on the lead singer of that group as well. So it's not really like there was much to go off of, in my opinion, for anybody else.
What about Soda Pop? Was that, did you understand how contagious that song was?
I mean, all the songs seem contagious, in my opinion. I don't think there was really any one that I was like, I don't get why people like this.
No, it's so funny. I did say at one point, I'm like, did they put crack in these songs? Because like
I mean, imagine if this really was the devil tempting everybody. He would have got a lot off of this.
a lot, a lot. They find out very quickly that these boys are demons. And one of my favorite fight scenes in the bathhouse happens. This is where Ginu finds out that Rumi is part demon and he covers her up. Again, he hasn't done anything really nice, but this was interesting that he decided to do that. Did you have any favorite fight scenes? Like we have the plane scenes, we have the bathhouse, and then we have the epic fight scene in the end. Oh, and then there's also one on the train when all the demons are coming and they were kicking some demon butt.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, again, I've seen it one time so far, so I can't say that I have just a favorite fight scene, but it was always impressive. They didn't seem like they really struggled. You know how some things you'll watch and it's like the demons or whoever might get a little leg up. Nah, they was kicking ass every time.
That's the one thing I did enjoy about the film was that, I feel like if anything, it was just too many of them. But it wasn't that they were a real threat in skill level in that way, right? I brought up their fight scenes also because, again, I think they did a really great job, the animators, with the scenes and making them complex and fast and fun. Like, girls can kick some butt too and do it fashionably, right? In their leathers. As I mentioned, they put a lot of thought in this film. And again, I'm going off of the research that I did looking at different things on social media. I am not well versed in Korean history, but what I have found I really enjoyed. And so, if y'all have more insights, we'd love to hear them. Okay. So, put them in your comments, in our comments on our YouTube page or Instagram. But the magpie and the tiger have a lot of Korean symbolism. From what I found is that the tiger is the national animal for Korea, and the magpie and the tiger pairing are found in like Korean paintings from the past. And I guess the magpie represents the people. I just thought that was really interesting. And those are Jinu's pets in some ways. He has managed to get Rumi to speak to him. He thinks he's going to manipulate her into, doing what he needs to do with their plot. And she is reluctant at first, but eventually utilizes the made ups to convince him to help them win so they can create the golden Han moon. Do you think they have a romantic connection, Ashley? I kind of struggle with this aspect of the movie because they don't ever kiss or nothing, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess because it's animated, I don't really feel like I needed a lot of passion to believe that they had a connection because it was more so like an understanding of one another that made them bond.
Mm, I got it. And I agree. I'm not saying I needed them to make out by any means. I did not like Genu for a very long time. Like my initial watch of this particular movie, I felt like everything he did was selfish. And the fact that he lied to her face about why he became a demon in the first place, I was like, oh no, it's a wrap for me. Like,
Hmm.
I don't care for them to be together because he's a awful person. I was like, he lied to her talking about, oh, I was poor and I heard the voice, and almost like he gave, had a deal with the devil essentially and got prosperous. And then all of a sudden, he started getting these marks and he started hearing his voice all the time. Like, no, no, that's not what happened. And so for me, I was just like, did he show any remorse? And I feel like we got a glimpse out of it at the Idol Award. So that is where Rumi was essentially asking him, like, let us win. Let me get this golden Hanu. My marks will be gone. You won't listen to Kima anymore. And we will be, happy to do our own thing. I also felt like that request was kind of weak. I'm like, girl, what do you mean? Asking him to lose for you. Like, and I think it's worth mentioning Soda Pop was winning. All right. They were topping the charts. People were singing the songs. The Hanun was in tatters. Okay. She made this request. I just want to talk about like Korean culture in general. I feel like it's definitely having a moment in an American culture, like with movies and TV shows. So for me, Parasite, I think it was the New York Times. They just came out with like their top 100 movies of all time. Parasite is like in top 10. We've recapped Squid Games and talked about All the Boys We Loved Before and her sister show. What was her sister show?
It's not coming to me. We recapped it.
Yeah,
There was even a season two.
XO Kitty,
Hmm.
to K dramas and Korean skincare. Has any of those elements, sparked your interest or anything that you notice in recent years when it comes to Korean culture?
When you say sparked my interest, what do you mean?
I mean, like, well, I know we've watched some of the shows, right? But like, have you observed any other ways that Korean culture has made its way to America? Because for me personally, I have definitely adapted elements of the Korean skincare with I never used an essence before. I definitely do now. Just different things like that.
Yeah, I can't say I personally probably adopted anything, but I definitely indulge more in their culture because of the content that's out there, the Squid Games, all of it than I ever had before. So it's definitely having a moment in terms of just better understanding because you get absorbed into the worlds of the TV shows and films that you watch.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me more curious to travel and
Mm-hmm.
learn more in that way as well.
Definitely. It is definitely on my list to travel for sure. So, as I mentioned before, Genu was for the birds for me for a long time, but I did enjoy the banter between him and Rumi. She was very adamant on thinking that she's a mistake. And he was like, well, I don't think you're a mistake. And I thought that was sweet. Really love the song Free. I think, again, just wonderful way to expound in that moment of like finding yourself and like being yourself fully. So, this whole idol performance was crazy. The idea was not to sing Takedown, but it somehow became a selection because Genu did what he always was going to do, was backstab her because he's a demon. She was like, why did you do this? You know, and the stress and everything of the performance, her patterns became, visible. He pretty much was like, this was always the plan. She was like, well, you were a good person. And he was like, no, I left them. And I was like, I think that was the first time he showed some remorse for his actions.
Probably difficult when you're constantly dealing with that shame to speak it out loud, even as a demon, I guess, in this case. Because that was the thing. The thing about demons in this movie is they were constantly dealing with the shame of their decisions and what they've done to put them into the situation that they're in. Like that is their hell, essentially, is to
Right.
always live with that in your mind and be tortured by that.
Mm. And that's why I thought like, well, selfish again. He didn't want to be reminded of it because you did the thing and this is your accountability, but she learns the truth. Her bandmates find out the truth about her. They're hurt because, you know, it goes against everything that they understood. Rumi confronts Lean and she out here talking about, oh, we can still hide and lie about the illusion. It was an illusion from Gima. I'm like, sis, when are you going to learn? Like sometimes you gotta let some of that stuff air out. In one of the video analyses that I saw online from people who are a part of the Korean culture, they felt like this part represented facing like deep secrets and or like things that traditionally people were taught to hide, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I feel like every culture got a little bit of that. Like,
Indeed.
let's air some of this stuff out. Okay. Of course, the Saja boys were like, the band is broken up. The Han Moon is in tatters. Let's have a special performance because we about to get all the souls. Okay.
In full demon form. They ain't even hiding anymore.
They didn't even hide it, Ashley. But your idol is a banger. But it's so funny because even the songwriters are like, this is the song that topped BTS's record. That was the biggest K-pop band to top the Billboard charts. And the person who wrote the song in one of the articles, he's like, the song is literally them seducing the audience to come to the dark side, essentially. And that is like the top song. It's kind of like, y'all, read the room, read the
Yeah, that's what I'm
room.
saying. If this was really being used in the way the movie makes it seem, y'all are all goners.
Absolutely. And at the very end, we have Rumi, who is like, this is what it feels like to not hold back, not to lie about myself or to myself. This is us coming together. And they kick some demon butt. But girl, Genu, in my opinion, did one of the first selfless things I think he's ever done, and he sacrificed himself for Rumi. So many people are upset at this. Actually,
They wanted a happily ever after for them.
girl, they wanted a happily ever after. They are wondering, is this man really dead? Because he did say, he was like, you gave me my soul back. Now I give it to you. What does that mean? Is he in her sword? Is he like, you know what I mean?
That's fair. Sequel.
I know. Do you have any thoughts on this choice, right? It is not the traditional happily ever after by any means.
Well, I mean, if we're going by the gauge of a lot of these type of supernatural things, self-sacrifice is the ultimate way to redeem your soul. Look at Constantine.
True.
So, to the point of the
Yes.
audience, it could be that this will be his redemption. And so he will, because otherwise, how was he ever going to really break away from being a demon? This would be the thing. So, it's a
Mm-hmm.
fair point. Sequel. Let's see.
Yeah. So I mentioned I have a lot of questions. Here are all the questions. Okay, Ashley. So the first one is the Han moon at the end of the movie is blue. Does that mean they still have a lot of work to do? Because the goal was golden, right? These are my other questions. I'm like, how did Remy's parents meet? Where is her father? How often do they need to seal the Han moon if they got all these people coming back? Is it every 10 years, every 20 years? What else did I have here? Are all the hunters related to each other in some way? Because we have like the Rumi and her mother connection. And like they apparently have a special site because we realized that Bobby, their manager, did not have any visibility to what was going on with the tattered Hanu. And then like how did they find each other?
I think her daddy is the biggest baddie. Gmon. I think he's
You
gotten
think
worse and
so?
worse. It's going to be like a Luke, I am your father situation. That's what I think.
That would definitely be fascinating. The makers are definitely saying they have ideas for a sequel, so it would be really exciting to see what they came up with. Yeah. Okay. So in my section here, I have for Rumi and Jennie, I was like, pure selfishness, no kids, sacrifice at the end. And girl, there's even a portion of the internet that are saying like they didn't kiss because it wasn't romantic love, that he could be her father. And I'm like, ugh,
That'd be
no,
really, that'd be terrible.
awful.
Terrible plot twist. Let's not do
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Let's not Luca
Granted,
and Leia in this
I was just
either.
about to say
Let's
it
not.
is also another Star Wars reference.
Let's not Luca and Leia this either. Please.
All right. Speaking of the music being on crack, a lot of the songwriters for this movie are the songwriters that work with the top K-pop groups like ITZY, Blackpink, Twice, BTS, HOT, and things along those lines. Teddy Park comes to mind, just because I'll talk about it a little bit later, but he's known for being a part of a rapping group and also producing a lot of Blackpink's hits. So, Ashley, do you have any final thoughts for this movie?
I mean, I'm curious again to see what they'll do next with this, especially given the popularity of it. Obviously, any future songs will be bangers. I'm curious if they'll do like a little tour with the actual musicians. I'm sure that would be fun and be great fan service. But it was a ride. I enjoyed it.
I can't get over how this is like the second movie this year that talks about how influential music is, Sinners being the first. I'm like, why are there similarities? But again, there is something to be said about music. A lot of Christian think that music has been a vehicle for the enemy because he was the lead praise
Mm-hmm.
singer in heaven. Like that's what that's what they would
Mm-hmm.
always say. And so this definitely doesn't seem far-fetched. Again, really enjoyed this film. I thought it was so funny. I just got a lot of joy out of it. I think that's why I was excited to talk about it. It was something I genuinely enjoyed watching repeatedly because I actually don't rewatch too many things. Like outside of the things that we recap, I usually just one and done and call it a day. You know what I mean? I'm glad that this was something that we all could enjoy. All right, Ashley, if there's nothing else, time for hidden gems.
All right. I have two from our time away. Speaking of children's work, one of the masters of that in our youth, Pee Wee Herman, has a bit of a documentary out currently on HBO Max called Pee Wee as Himself. This was a documentary he sat down and did hours of interviews with a documentarian talking about his life, talking about his time as Pee Wee Herman, and just a lot of never before probably heard and seen things about the man himself, Paul Rubens, who played this iconic figure in pop culture. And so it was interesting. I learned quite a bit about him, especially, like I said, his personal life, but also just the journey of his drive and ambition with that character. Like, I don't think, because for me, Pee Wee Herman was just a child, character for me, because I was a child. I didn't think about the actor and like the fact that he was driven and ambitious to want to portray this character.
Right.
It never
Yeah.
occurred to me. And it also never occurred to me that like his sexuality was something he felt like he really, hid for a very, very long time. And um the I've talked about it the night before, the incident where he was caught in the movie theater and how that derailed his career and all this stuff, which I do not agree with. Again, as an adult, I do not agree with that at all. He was a grown man. Whether he was in there doing his thing or not, that's a grown man. He was not doing anything illegal or wrong, in my opinion. And then subsequently, just kind of what happened leading up to his passing, because this was shot while he was battling cancer, unbeknownst to the documentarian. And some of the difficulty they just had in their dynamic, because Paul Rubens was used to being in control of kind of his image and his narrative, and you see that push and pull between them in the filming of the documentary. So I just felt like it was fascinating for people who enjoy, bio documentaries and those sorts of things. I think you'll enjoy it, particularly if you kind of are a child of the 80s and 90s and have an awareness of Pee Wee Herman. The second hidden gem for me is We Were Liars. This is on Prime. This is based off of a book. I had not read the book, so I wasn't familiar with the ride that I was about to go on with this series. This is one I thought I knew what it was, and man, took me down. Let me just say it like that. It is
I heard
centered
about it. Yeah.
centered around a group of teenagers, and particularly a very wealthy family, and the private island that they have, and the summers spent on that island until something happens, and one of the family members is trying to piece together what happened during one particular summer. So it is really good. It is not what I had expected, and it was a ride. So worth a watch. We Were Liars on Prime. What about you?
All right. I have three. I have Ironheart, which is available on Disney Plus. Super excited about this project. We got a chance to meet Riri in Wakanda and to see her on her own turf in Chicago was really exciting. This sis got herself in a lot of trouble. Okay. I'm like, you could be super smart, but she was messy, messy. And I think they did a really great job capturing her story. Very fascinating, very big spoilers that happens later on in the series that I think is going to be really interesting to see how they're going to play this character in the MCU, especially with all the projects they have on deck, especially this mega movie with, you know, Robert Downing as Doctor Doom. So should be very interesting. I hope to see her in there somewhere. I have Hot Ones, one of my favorite interviews, and specifically the one with Jennie, member of Blackpink, as I mentioned from our recap. She, along with all the other members of Blackpink, have done their own solo things. And so they've been pretty much going one by one on the show. And hers by far was hilarious. Like, I feel like she is one of the first people to really show how hot those wings are in a realistic kind of way. Not like Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah is also my favorite because Queen Latifah was completely unfazed. She's like, a little heat there, but so poised, so controlled. But I'm like, she's also a Black woman, so we can hold the spice. Jennie, y'all, I cackled. Like, she was like, I can't hear.
It's attacking all my senses. I'm blind. I'm blind too.
Oh, tickled me. Along with that, I went ahead and watched the Blackpink documentary on Netflix because I just was curious about their story and why they're so popular. It came out back in 2020, and I guess this was like the first girl group from YG Entertainment, which is like the mega music producer in Korea. Their first girl group in a long way, and they were essentially the leaders in this next wave or this new wave of K-pop, and it was just really fascinating how they all came together. They work really hard, but I will say when it comes to some of the K-pop people that are out now, well, the ones that I know, which again is limited, they're giving more Britney Spears than like Christina Aguilera or Beyonce. You know what I mean? Like they give you the two step, they give you the choreo, the cute looks. They got the X factor, but they're not like belting. You know what I mean? And as I mentioned, even in this recap, sis Rumi was singing. Like I ain't never seen no K-pop sing like that. So that was another thing that I thought was fun about the film. So, but yeah, that's all I have for today, Ashley.
All right, very nice. Well, guys, thank you for sticking with us through this recap. Let us know your thoughts on this film. We are going to post a replay next week because Laura and I are booked and busy doing a few things.
Summertime,
Yeah,
summertime.
but we will be back with fresh, brand new episodes the following Thursday, and we look forward to talking to you then. In the meantime, as always, be blessed.
Bye.